Fantasy Footballers Sunday Live.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sunday Live. It's me, once again, Mike the Fantasy Hitman Wright from the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. How are y'all beautiful people doing? What is it, week 9, Brooks? Where are we?
Oh, yeah.
What day is it? I mean, at least I know it's Sunday. But week 9, welcome to your Sunday Live Tilt Fest. A lot of decisions to be made today. A lot of teams inactive, forcing our hands to make some very uncomfortable decisions. I am joined by the best producer in the building at this time, my best friend. Right now, it's Brooks. Judge Giamatti, how are you doing, Brooks?
Excellent, Mike. Thanks for asking.
How's your face? Is it attached? Is it tilted? Are you upside down? What's going on with you?
I'm okay. I think I'm locked in to my decisions for this morning.
You got any DeAndre Swift that you're counting on?
Nah, no Swift. I'm against Swift.
Because that's a fun ride.
Yeah.
It's been a really good week for us people with DeAndre Swift on our rosters. But again, welcome in. If you've never joined us before, a special thank you to you. If you are back for many times of watching this, welcome back to you. The way that this show works, we break down all the news in the late breakings, inactives and actives. We take a look at the rankings, thefantasyfootballers.com. That's where our rankings are currently. They are still being worked on up until kickoff. We have a start-sit tool on there that you can use, player X, player Y. It runs through the computer. A bunch of really complicated things happen. And taking a look at our rankings and some other factors. And it lays some things out for you to help you make the best decision that you can make with the information that we have. So check that out, thefantasyfootballers.com. If you are a fine supporter of this podcast at jointhefoot.com, that is our Patreon community, how you get in. Well, you can support, just $5 a month. You get access to a whole bunch of really, really cool tools that we talk about on the show, an extra podcast every single week, which is just Foot Clan mailbag questions. And your start-sit tool expands to 4 players. So if you want to check that out, jointhefoot.com. Let's get into the news.
The big picture.
All right, not a lot going on at the quarterback position other than Ryan Tannehill as a game-time decision for tonight's game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, brother. Hopefully he's active for you Tennessee Titans fans. At the running back position, like I said, DeAndre Swift, it's been really fun for us with DeAndre Swift. You trade for him because he's going to be back. And then all the shenanigans start happening. Well, he's going to play. It's expected to be limited snaps. Now, I took a look back in week 2. He was on limited snaps as well. That turned into 5 carries and 2 receptions, but 5 carries for 56, 2 for 31, and a touchdown through the air. So it's not impossible in this matchup here for DeAndre Swift to have a good game. It's just soup sketch and may not be a very fun ride. But if you got him, with 6 teams on bye, more than likely he is in your lineup. On good news, Cordarrelle Patterson will be back for the Falcons. Well, I guess good news if you have Patterson. Bad news if you have Tyler Algier or Caleb Huntley and you were hoping for a desperation start from one of those 2 guys. But Patterson is back. He looked sensational in those first few games where he was just getting the ball a ton. Arthur's plan is to establish the run no matter what. Win, lose, tie. It does not matter. It will be established. The other team will know that we are high T and we run the ball because that's how you play football in 2022. But Patterson's in. He's going to get a bunch of volume. So if I have Patterson, he's probably in there as a running back 2 type of an option. Cam Akers is in. Okay. I don't know. There's no way you're playing him for fantasy football purposes. Rivers is also back. Ronnie Rivers. Kyron did not make it to the active roster this week. It sounds like it will happen next week. But Akers is active. We'll see if he gets on the field. James Robinson will be in for the New York Jets. I'm not playing him either if I can get away with it. Michael Carter, his counterpart, maybe you get some decent volume, but the matchup is terrible. Damian Harris is out. He's going to miss with an illness. He was missing practice the whole week. It certainly was trending that way, and now he is out. Johnny Taylor, oh boy, out with that re-aggravated ankle problem. That's, man, the Jonathan Taylor ride of 2022. Not what you hoped, not what you dreamed, and here we are. Chuba Hubbard will be out for the Panthers. Deontay Foreman remains a very high-volume play who looked very great last week. The matchup is not nearly as good for him this week. I believe it's the Bengals. Do I have that right there, Brooks? Yes, Cincinnati on the road. I mean, you're probably still playing him. That's kind of the, if there is a mantra to this week 9, it's if you're a running back and you're active, you're probably playing him. If it's not Cam Akers, that is. So Chuba is out. Deontay Foreman will be in. J.D. McKissick is out. Now, we didn't get to talk very much about the J.D. McKissick injury because not a lot was known, but he popped up on the practice report. He missed on Wednesday. Then he was out again on Thursday. And then Friday he was out, and they said it is a neck injury, which go back in time to just, last year or so when J.D. McKissick, I think he had a concussion and a neck problem pop up at the same time, and he was out for the season. I am definitely not prognosticating saying that's what's happening here, but a feller who had a serious neck injury last year and now has another neck injury, and the team has said we are going to treat this injury appropriately and take it serious. I mean, this is not great news for J.D. McKissick. Very, very unfortunate for our guy Smooches, but silver lining. Antonio Gibson in that target floor should be very, very safe. The matchup is awful for both Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson on the ground this week. But if Gibson sees 5+ targets, he's probably going to be useful, especially in a half or full point PPR scoring format. Zach Moss, after the trade, will be out for the Colts. This one's just, Brooks, this one's brutal. So Zach Moss was traded to the Colts for Nyheim Hines, who Nyheim Hines is active. Okay? The Buffalo Bills traded for him. He's active. Jeff Wilson was recently traded to the Miami Dolphins. He's going to be active. Zach Moss to a team whose starting running back is out. Zach Moss is inactive. That's rough. Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be Deion Jackson for the Indianapolis Colts. He will probably come up in some questions, but I'll just lay it out here. I've seen a lot of, fantasy minds out there like Deion Jackson. I'm getting him in. He's like a must play. And I get it. The week 9 mantra, he's probably in for your team, but they're playing the Patriots on the road. The over-under of that game is the lowest of the week at 40.5. The Patriots are favored by 5. That puts the Colts at an implied team total of 17.8 points. Like, their implied total is under 18 points. You have Sam Ehlinger, a.k.a. Sam Ehlinger, who, at least in our small sample, not checking the ball down to the running back. There's room for that to change. It's only been one start for the young player. But if Deion Jackson's not getting 4+ receptions in this matchup, which Nyheim Hines is gone, so perhaps that makes that a safer proposition for Deion. Like, I'm concerned. So to lay out my process in the League of Record, if you were following, I desperately needed a running back. It seemed like Jonathan Taylor was going to be out. I checked in on Deion Jackson, and it was like the price was just too high because I'm concerned. So I went a different direction. I went and traded for a different running back. But Jackson, running back 2-ish, I don't know. Hopefully if you've got him, you're in for a November surprise. But my expectations for him are quite low for him and the Colts. So that's how I'm handling that. James Conner, game time decision for the Cardinals. He is expected to play after being day-to-day for 30 days, but he'll be back, ruining fantasy for everybody. Gus Edwards is doubtful for Monday night. Move accordingly. Kenyon Drake gets the bump up, but the Ravens will be depleted. Bateman went to the IR. He's done. Gus Edwards is doubtful. Mark Andrews is doubtful. He is as good as Isaiah Likely seemed in his performance for Mark Andrews. Like, this is not a great situation for the Baltimore Ravens as a whole. Wide receivers. Christian Watson is back, the rookie for the Green Bay Packers. Made it out of the concussion protocol. He will be playing, as will the Lazard King. Alan Lazard is in. He's extremely interesting this week in this particular matchup. Personally, I am looking at Adam Thielen or Alan Lazard. As of right now, I have Alan Lazard in. That's the type of play that I'm making for Lazard. DeAndre Carter, he was questionable with an illness, but he will play. Kadarius Toney, Kansas City Chiefs' new wide receiver. He will be making his debut tonight. Matchup pretty juicy here against the Tennessee Titans, in which the Chiefs are favored by, let me check this, 12.5 points. Goodness gracious. But how many snaps will Kadarius Toney get? Do you have large enough steel underpants to play Kadarius Toney? I don't think I do, but we talked about it on the podcast. It is truly a glory play if you want to call your shot here on Kadarius Toney. Jamal Swagnew for the Jags, he'll be playing because he's the swaggiest. Keenan Allen, Jamar Chase, out. Corey Davis for the Jets, out. Garrett Wilson remains pretty safe for those targets. Elijah Moore will still continue to pass along, as just a generous man, pass along his targets to Denzel Mims, it would seem. Maybe they changed that this week, but as they said, Denzel Mims is in the plans. Devontae Parker will be out for the Patriots. Josh Reynolds for the Lions will be out. Russell Gage, Jahan Dotson out. And then Velus Jones of the Chicago Bears is a healthy scratch. And you might say, Mike, why are you talking about Velus Jones being a healthy scratch? Well, they traded for Chase Claypool. The report was that the plan is to hopefully get Chase Claypool 10 to 35 snaps. That's what I saw. 10, anywhere in the range of 10 to 35. Just Chicago, tell me when to stop. I mean, that's what is that all about, Brooks?
Not 9.
10 to, yeah, not 9.
Not 36.
Because that would be too many.
Yeah, oh yeah.
9 is too few. 36 is too many. But somewhere in between 10 and 35, that's the baby bear. It's perfect. I don't know. We'll see. It's good news for Justin Fields either way. Van Jefferson is expected to play for the Rams, which the NFL, in their brilliance, has given us 2 afternoon games. What are we doing, NFL? There's 6 teams on bye. Spread the love out. People watch the NFL all day. And when you're giving us 2 afternoon games, that's boring. Like, that's a chance for people to tune out. That's money. Just saying. You know, if you need some recommendations or some hot tips, NFL, I'm here. I can give you some schedule tips. Demarcus Robinson, oh gosh, questionable for the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, man. Jarvis Landry is questionable as well. Michael Thomas was placed on the IR. Darren Waller remains out for 2022, it seems. I thought he was close to coming back last week. That's what we were told. Remains out. It's unfortunate. It sucks. Cameron Braid is out. Kate Otten remains an interesting flex, or I'm sorry, not flex, a streaming tight end for the Buccaneers. Donald Parham has been placed on the IR. Stinks for him, but the opportunity for Gerald Everett, you were seeing those snaps start to kind of go down as Parham was getting more and more integrated, so he will be out. Gerald Everett remains a pretty safe high floor, high ceiling play, especially with all of the things going on with the Chargers. And Mark Andrews is doubtful. He's not going to play. So that's going to do it. Brooks, how's the computer doing today?
Let me check.
Tremendous. Let's check in on who's hot and who's not.
He's so hot right now.
All right, the way this works, the start-sit tool that you beautiful people are using, we capture that data. We look at who are the trending players because I can't talk about everybody, but every week there seem to be these hot button players. They are trending. They are hot. Who's hot right now, Brooks?
The number 1 search, Mike, is Geno Smith or Justin Fields.
Really?
Yeah. Geno at the Cardinals and Justin Fields versus Dolphins.
Okay. I mean, I totally get it. Geno Smith has been great. I mean, looking at my rankings, I can see why that would be a question as they are back-to-back. The last time we saw Geno Smith and the Arizona Cardinals face off against each other, it was in Seattle. It turned into just the poopiest of pants for everybody involved. It was terrible. Rematch thing, that doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen. But looking at the Arizona Cardinals are at home now. They have Hopkins. Perhaps they can put more on the board, forcing the Seahawks' hand. The Seahawks, they're a solid team. But Justin Fields, he's just set up. The over-under and stuff is not the best, but it's the Miami Dolphins. It's interesting to me that 45.5 is the over-under for the Dolphins. They have seen games just get out of control, a.k.a. last week against the Detroit Lions. The Chicago Bears are implied for nearly 21 points. So I'm going with Justin Fields. I'm chasing that upside of laid it out. He's my start of the week. The rushing floor is safe. He's rushing for, I think, like 50-plus yards a game. If you're in a 4-point scoring format, that's an extra touchdown, everybody, every single week just for free, not accounting for any other touchdowns that he gets. He just gets a free one. I mean, that's a pretty good deal for fantasy football. So it's not by a gigantic margin, but Justin Fields will be the play for me. Who else is hot?
All right, that was the number one search, but the most popular player is Joshua Palmer.
Oh, goodness gracious. He's gonna play after all of the nonsense of the week. Okay, Josh Palmer or who?
And hate to do this to you, Mike, but it's the number 2 search on the site, Josh Palmer or
We built this city.
Now that's just
versus the Patriots.
That's rude. Ladies and gentlemen, that is rude. How dare you? It's the Penny City. Okay, but let's not have a joke about it. Let's actually look at it. So last week, Sam Ehlinger, I can't even say his name right now. It's broken in my head. Sam Ehlinger, he targeted Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman. That's who he had the eyes for. That's why I have the concerns about the running back replacement. And Paris Campbell, I think, had 2 targets. Michael Pittman was very involved. It's not necessarily the highest powered of offenses, and the Patriots are very, very good. But the target volume is going to be there. Josh Palmer, I mean, it's so TBD of, like, is Joshua Palmer good enough that he can step up and be the man? Because you got no Keenan, you got no Mike Williams for this team. They are the highest over-under of the week. So the people at the sports book those are big brains, man. Those people do not want to lose money. But the highest over-under, well, tied for it. The Chargers game is tied. It's against the Atlanta Falcons, who are amongst the juiciest of matchups, while Pittman is not in a good one. The implied team total for the Los Angeles Chargers is 26 points. Oh, man, okay. I've walked through the steps. I've walked in your shoes, Foot Clan, and now I see what the problem. It's a clear problem. Do you go with Joshua Palmer or do you go with the known Michael Pittman? And check this out. Ready for this? The floor play is Michael Pittman. If you are looking at a matchup, and that I'm making a joke at myself of feeling like this is the coward way out, but this is the honest. This is the best that I can give. Oh, my goodness gracious. You want to take over? You want to check this out? Check this out. Michael Pittman or Josh Palmer?
Palmer, baby.
Okay, you heard it from the smarter of the 2 footballers in the room. Andrew Holloway's going with Josh Palmer. I think that's because Andy cannot quit Justin Herbert no matter how crappy he plays for the entirety of the season. Although you did just trade him away. You did just trade Justin Herbert away because you're a traitor. But that's where I was going to get. Josh Palmer, for the ceiling, you got to go with him. If you need some ammunition, you need some nitro in that lineup, it's not going to be Michael Pittman against the New England Patriots. All right, Brooks, who else is trending? And please make them easier.
All right, Joshua Palmer or Gabe Davis at the Jets.
I said easier, Brooks. What is happening
I thought
with
you were
these?
a man of the people.
I am a man of the people, and oh my goodness gracious! But now I'd feel like I can't do the floor versus ceiling play. Okay, the Buffalo Bills are taking on the New York Jets. They are favored by 10.5 points. Oh man, Nyheim Hines is now on the field. He is going to be active. if I had these two guys, I would play Gabe Davis. I totally get all the arguments here for Josh Palmer because we just made them. But Gabe Davis, I'm not letting the down game of last week get in my head. The targets were still there. They just missed. If you remember, last week was strange for the Buffalo Bills where they looked like themselves for the first half, and then the second half, I don't know what happened in the adjustments there, but they adjusted the wrong way. They said, we're too good. We should probably pull some punches here, and their offense really just fell apart. I don't expect that to keep happening. I'm going to go with Gabe Davis over Josh Palmer. Who's next?
All right, Mike, hitting with the flex question to transition to the next popular player, Joshua Palmer or Deion Jackson?
All right. I've laid out my fears here for Deion Jackson. I think that I don't know that there is actually a ceiling for him this week. The ceiling is 15 carries, 50 yards, and you get a pass interference to Michael Pittman in the end zone, and Deion Jackson falls in. That's the ceiling to me. Because are you actually going to get any receptions at all? Joshua Palmer, the target floor for him in this week against the Falcons, I mean, it has to be 5+, which I'll take 5+ targets here for Justin Herbert, or from Justin Herbert, I should say. Deion Jackson, man, I really hope I'm not swinging the pendulum too far. He freaks me out, and while everyone else is just so excited for him, but I am terrified. I'm terrified to play him other than anything but just the sub-basement of floor plays of a running back that's going to get touches. So I would play Josh Palmer. Who's next? Oh, Andy's in. Andy's strapped in.
What's going on, people?
How's Deucer's Alley?
It's nice back here. You
Yeah?
got the neon light casting a soft glow. You're the one answering the question, so I don't have to worry about it. It's great.
I mean, I refuse to go back there. I hadn't heard good things until just now. So.
Well, it's a lot better than it used to be. I'll tell you that.
I might take the trip back there.
I'll give you a tour.
Okay, thank you,
Oh,
Brooks.
by the way, I really appreciate everything you're saying about Deion Jackson today because I need him to stink.
Where are you? So Deion Jackson, Josh Palmer.
I would go
share
Palmer there. Yeah, I would go Palmer. I think it's all of his production has come from 4 out of 4 targets, 10 out of 10 targets.
Yes.
He's literally not had a target that he didn't catch. So I'm hoping Ellen Gajurjajer
Yes, very nice.
can let us down because I am facing Deion Jackson, and he's going to get a ton of work, right? It's New England. They're not going to want Ellinger to
lose the game.
the game. So I'm scared, but I think Palmer has way more upside.
All right. Is anyone else trending, Brooks?
Let's get to the people.
Let's do it.
Stardom, sit 'em.
All right. We ran long today, but that's all right. We'll crank out some questions here from the people. Vero's World says Patterson or Singletary. That's Cordero Patterson for me. He, like I said, when I was breaking down him coming back, I think that his volume just goes right back to what it was. Algier was a fine, somewhat competent replacement for Patterson, but Patterson's been awesome, and he's going to get the ball so many times. Another one, this is from Andy Tamayo, Deion Jackson, not Tomato, Tamayo. Hopefully I said that right. I apologize. Deion Jackson, Cordero Patterson, for full PPR. Give me Cordero Patterson. Let's see. Chris G. Oh, man, everything is Cordero Patterson. Chris G wants to know in a PPR, Mostert or Cordero Patterson. Didn't really talk much about the Mostert situation, but Jeff Wilson is active. That is a very difficult situation to assess because Jeff Wilson knows the system. They can just fluidly go right into a Mostert, Jeff Wilson timeshare. They clearly wanted more from Chase Edmonds, didn't get it, got somebody who can give them more, which is Jeff Wilson. So maybe the first game back he's not super involved, and you want to chase that, and the Miami Dolphins could be in an interesting matchup here with the Chicago Bears. I do think that if I had them both, I would play Patterson. That's not an easy one by any stretch. Cam 58888 says non-PPR Antonio Gibson or James Conner. The James Conner situation is pretty much close to a disaster. That he's expected to play. That's all the information we have from Arizona. But he's still listed as a game-time decision. He's still banged up. Eno Benjamin has been fine. The timeshare that we're going to get from this is we have no idea. Meanwhile, Gibson, again, the matchup on the ground is not great, but it's him and Brian Robinson. They're the two that will be splitting time. So if you're like chasing volume, Gibson, even though you're in a non-PPR, you're still going to get those yards. You're still going to get those bigger players through the air, which the Manders may have to go to that. E.B. Lucas says Duvernay or Lazard. Oh, okay.
Lazard.
Yeah, it's Lazard for me. I was trying to think, does the absence of everybody, like everybody for the Baltimore Ravens, put Duvernay in play over Lazard? But no, I'll take Lazard in that spicy matchup. Let's see. Liam says Jackson or Swift in a half PPR. Okay, now that is a very difficult question. I laid out the best case for DeAndre Swift, which was week 2, essentially like 7 touches, a bunch of yards, and a touchdown. That was where he was already starting to deal with some injury, or just the volume of Jackson. What kind of fantasy football player are you? Are you safe? Are you moderate? Or do you risk it? If you're risky, like me, I would be playing DeAndre Swift. We got CDR says A.J. Dillon or Eno Benjamin. I would go with A.J. Dillon, both in timeshares, but the matchup for Dillon is much better. Gerard says DJ Moore or Josh Palmer, full PPR. You got to stay in the flames with DJ Moore. He's really turned it on. That target share feels extremely safe since Robbie and Christian McCaffrey are out of town. All right, we're really up against it here. We'll go Tyler says Hawkinson or Taysom. Good one to get out of here on because Hawkinson just got traded. I'm not exactly sure how for a tight end to move from system to system. Can you be ready in a week? A running back, because do you have the instincts? Do you know zone, man? At least I've heard. I'm not saying it's easier for sure because I've never done it, but it sounds like it's an easier transition. But the tight end with all of the schemes and everything you have to know. But a report came out that Hawkinson worked his way in and he will be a big part of today's plan. Having said all that, it's still you're going to roll those dice with Taysom Hill. Hopefully you don't end up on snake eyes. Hopefully you get what you need. That is going to do it, everybody. Jointhefoot.com again if you want that 4-player start-sit tool. Week 9, baby. We're halfway done. I wish your enemies nothing but the best. Wait. No, I said that backwards. I wish your enemies nothing but the worst. Oh, no. Keep it beautiful. I got to go. Goodbye.